Hello and welcome to Redefining Entrepreneurship. We are your hosts, Lori Conkler and Mara Whitener. And today we are here to talk to you about why your income plateau has nothing to do with sales and marketing, and why it has nothing to do with a whole lot of other shit too.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I think the place to start is what's going on? What's happening, in your business, in your world? Like why? We'll get to the why this is happening, right? But I want to first talk about a little bit, like what's happening. And I think we can start a little bit with ourselves, Mara, if you agree, talking about our own experiences, because I know that I've experienced this. I believe that you have. And I know that we've both probably had clients that have experienced this.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and, we talk a lot about, human design. We talk about teams and operations, and we talk about energetics and mindset. And I'm going to say that this is going to be a hodgepodge of a little of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to start, but I'll start with myself, if you don't mind. Just kind of some things that I've recognized, throughout my own journey. And I've been doing this business, this coaching business, coaching and consulting, for about 5 years now. And I've hit that income plateau myself multiple times in that 5 years. And I've seen this happen to my own clients as well. And I know for myself, when I was going through this at first, I was convinced that it was my strategy. And going back to sales and marketing, it was my strategy. Okay, I need to do something different. And, Mara over here, she's doing this, she's doing master classes, and Susie Q over here, she's doing challenges, and I'm just not sending enough messages. I'm not doing enough content. I'm not consistent enough. Like you come up with every freaking reason. And these are all literally things that I've probably said to myself. Maybe the names were different, but other than that, it's frustrating. It's exhausting, and it feels overwhelming. And which is a whole nother topic, because when you're doing things that are actually right for you, I don't believe that burnout and overwhelm is actually a thing. They're an indication of something else. So coming back full circle to, the like what was happening for me, those were some of the things that I was telling myself as to why my business wasn't working. And it was straight out of the gate. I actually was doing really well in my business. The first message I sent to somebody, I got a contract out of, like $25,000 contract. First message that I decided to send in my consulting business. I decided that I wanted to make a $10,000 month. Within like a month of deciding that, I did it, made it, right? So for me, a lot of things came really easily, and I made money really easily in the beginning of my business. So that when I got to that point and it just started to plateau and sometimes even dip down, sometimes then I would go back up, but then I'd still come back down, plateau even. And I couldn't get out of that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize a lot of patterns, which we'll get into, because I also want to hear, your story as well. But I spent a lot of time looking at things that really weren't the problem and slapping band-aids on things, and this goes I hired a copywriter because I thought that I didn't know how to write content right, which is bullshit, because I teach content. I know how to write content. That's what I do, but I had convinced myself that I couldn't do it right, so I needed to hire someone because that's what other people were doing. And we go through these different iterations, and it can impact so much. So I'm going to shut up now. I want to hear your story a little bit, and then we'll get into more here.
Well, yeah, and I want to get back to yours and get into some of those specific things that were happening
Yeah.
for you on a daily basis and how you were feeling and what you were doing. But, I think my situation it's different, but it's the same as yours. And this is not my first business, and it's happened in other businesses. It seemed like every business I started skyrocketed to 6 figures in under a year. And it's like it's immediate success. It's, hey, this is working and everything's going great. And then you hit this point where the money's not quite flowing in as easily. And it's a whole lot more work to get it in, and you start second guessing yourself and go, what am I doing? I'm doing the same things I did before. Why isn't it working anymore? And so you start
Mhm.
searching for the answer, because there's got to be an answer, right? I've got to get this out to more people. Okay, I got to have those marketing strategies, like you said, a challenge, or, she's over here doing a master class, or, I need to, um, buy email addresses, or I need to run ads, or depending on what type of business that you have. Now, I'm not saying those strategies may or may not work or help you. But if you're like Lori and myself, I found it kind of like plateaued, and then I would do some things, and then you go, "Oh, okay, we're back on the mend," and then it go back down, and then there's a plateau, and you're like, oh, I just fixed this. Now what's happening? This is
Mhm.
so frustrating. So you're more overwhelmed. I was more tired. Felt like I was working even harder. Like, this is ridiculous. So you try new things and you're searching for the new solution. You're like, yes, I got it. Money's coming back into the bank. This is great. Goes back down again.
Mhm.
What is happening? So for me, it was super frustrating to know you know what you're doing,
Yep.
and then it's not reflected in the bank account. And then you know what you're doing, and then it's not reflected in the bank account. Still making money, still
Just
successful. What is happening? I'd sit there, and me being the problem solver, I'd have to solve my own problem. Not a good idea, by the way. Not a good idea. Never a good idea. Get some help to solve your problem, but we'll get into that later. I'd overanalyze it and I'd overthink it. And again, oh, well, let me research this thing. So and so's doing this. This is my competition. What are they doing differently? Like for you, it went messaging. That was part of the conversation in my head, but it's like, okay, I can, I'm gonna, I'm gonna outsource all of my marketing to this person, and then they're gonna blast this, and I'm gonna send like 5 emails, and I'm gonna do, you start adding all of these highly unnecessary things
Mhm.
and spending your time where you don't need to spend your time. I was
And your
having,
money.
yes, and I was which doesn't make the situation any better.
No, because
Uh,
then you shame yourself even more because you're like, well, shit, I just dumped a bunch of money into this and it didn't fucking work because that wasn't actually my problem.
right, which you come to that conclusion later, but in the middle of
Yeah.
it, you're like, yes, this is it, and then you get pissed off and overwhelmed and frustrated in the middle of it because you're like, no, damn it, this was supposed to be the solution,
Mhm.
and now it's not working. They're not executing it right. It's someone else's fault. Like, you can get into a blame game, you can get into a really really tough mental spot, and things start going downhill from there.
Yeah.
um I don't know if I know some of your situation. I know we have some similar things
Yeah.
um that we went through, but I'll stop talking. But like, what did you go through, like, on a daily basis? Like, what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that it's easy to come, from the outside perspective and look in and see what it was. But I've been doing a lot of this lately, actually. So this is good time because I've been spending a lot of time going back and like looking at old patterns, looking at what's happened. I know obviously you're big into the human design stuff, and I'm a big believer in it too. That's part of my genius and part of my downfall sometimes, that researching, but in this case it's really really helped me to be able to see what was happening for me, both in the highs and the lows, and what helped pull me out of it and what changed it and what made things work versus not work. And it's not what I was thinking back then that it was, but the things that were happening for me as I was going, I mean, I've gone through a lot of growing pains. So like, for instance, one thing that that happened to me, and this is a very vulnerable personal thing to share, but like I had had a really good month. I had hit my highest cash ever in my business, and this was like last year sometime. And so I started like, okay, I at the time had a membership, and we were starting to work on it and plan, and, I need to have this person and this person in place. And so I was really just feeling really overwhelmed and scared by some of the things in the moves that I was making. But for me, I was just trying to, again, slap band-aids on things. I wasn't doing the underlying work that I needed to. So in the beginning, what I was experiencing, what was happening for me in the day-to-day is I'd wake up, I would be like, oh, what do I have to do today? And I was no longer really feeling that excitement that I used to feel in my business, because I was feeling stressed because I just had this really big cash month. This is the part I didn't get to yet. But then the next month went down. The next month after that was my lowest month in 5 years. Well, 4 years. Yeah. It was low. It was bad. And what happened for me is I did go into a bit of a shame cycle, which we'll talk about. But I went into some of these decisions that I made when I had that big month. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, it's working. It's all paying off, right? Like, this is working.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next month came, and I started to question myself. I started to measure myself against that last month. Well, I did that. If I can't do that this month, then I'm a failure. I need to go hire people. I need to do this. So I took out a fucking loan. And this is where it gets vulnerable a little bit, because I've just recently actually had some of this realization myself. But I went out, I took out a loan. I started investing in stuff. I up-leveled my team. I I again, took out a loan because I thought, well, that's not that much, and I'll be able to pay that back like in a month, maybe two tops, right? Like, based on how things went this month, and blah blah blah. And but the thing is it wasn't about getting the team member at that time. It wasn't about getting the loan to pay for things. It was about me kind of looking at myself. And at the time, I didn't realize what I needed to do. So what was happening for me was I was waking up, and then I'd say, well, I need to hire this person to do that, or that person needs to do that, and I need to outsource this. And in reality, a lot of the shit I was doing, I didn't actually need to do. I can look back and say that now. And a lot of it just wasn't in alignment for me. But at the time, I was doing what I felt was right, what I had seen other people doing, what people were telling me was the next step. And it was fucking scary. And I wasn't dealing with, not just like I wasn't dealing with the fear, but for myself, I really like positivity. If you've never met me, you may not know that about me, but if you have, you know that I like to stay positive. I like to stay on that front. And so when fears came up and when things came up, I would just be like, put all my effort into feeling better instead of really like doing that underlying work. So I know you asked what was happening for me, and now I've probably gone into way more than I needed to there. But but what I realized was happening for me is like, I was not happy with the way things were going. I was living out of fear. I was making decisions out of fear in my business. And I was making what I thought to be the right decisions because it's what I saw other people doing. I saw it happening elsewhere. And when I didn't get the results that I had gotten the previous month, or when I wasn't getting the results from these things that I was doing that other people were seeing from it, I started to judge myself a lot and question myself and try to fix it. And so I was trying all sorts of different methods. And I'm going to save this part. I'm going to save this part. So that's really what I was doing. It was just, and this was not me, I want to say, as a newbie, because I think that as experienced, and I'm going to turn it over to you in a second, but I think as experienced entrepreneurs, we have this false idea that the shiny object syndrome is just relevant to brand newbies. It's not. It's not. It, it happens when if you're listening to the audio and you're just hearing me laughing, it's because Mara's cat was walking across the video. So I wasn't laughing about this situation, but
Hashtag real life.
but it is real life. But
It is.
I just it was always trying to make things better, really. Like that's what I was doing. I was trying to make it better. I was trying to beat myself. Well, shit, I hit $35,000 last month. I need to be able to hit 50 this month. And if I don't, then I'm a complete failure. And so I started making moves, hiring people, up leveling in different areas, outsourcing things, thinking that that was the solution to help me grow my business, but that was not it. And now I'm going to stop because now I want to hear from you.
I do want to say that can be the answer for people to grow their business, but it wasn't the right answer for you at that point in time.
It was because I was coming at it from the wrong place.
Correct. Correct. And I like that you brought up, this is not just for newbies. I mean, Lord, how long have I had my own business? 15, 20 years, 15 years? I lost count after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Not my first rodeo, not my first business. They've all taken off. They've all been successful. And there's been different iterations of, oh my God, what's happening? And you fix it or you don't fix it, or it's a learning curve. And each one has been very different. So even if it might be a similar set of circumstances, it's a different reason, right? You have to go about fixing it differently. And I've met with so many people, it's my own experience, and so many people here lately that are mid 6, 7, low 8 figure, and are in a period of being frustrated. They have success. Like someone outside looking in going, oh my God, you're doing great. They're experiencing income's been up, income goes down, income plateaus, and it's more of not a temporary plateau, it's been sustained.
Yeah.
And then they start to question. Then they even start to, shiny object syndrome at a higher level sometimes just means a higher price point.
That's really what it is. They're just going to hire the person that's charging 10,000 instead of 1,000, honestly.
Correct. I mean, it's the same. If you're going about it because you think this is the right solution, but you haven't done the work to actually know that that's the right solution, it's the same shiny object syndrome no matter where you are in your business. But you know what? It's okay because you're not the only one that's done it. There's a certain amount of shame about it when you are first starting out in your business. There's a bigger amount of shame around it the farther you are along in your journey.
Yeah, because you associate it with that like newbie syndrome almost.
Yeah, but it's not anything to be ashamed of. It's part of your journey. It's part of your growth. It's part of how you're going to become a better CEO and leader. So if you're experiencing these things and you're trying different things to fix it and you're getting more and more frustrated, you're not getting the result, those are all your red flags that it's not a strategy problem, or most likely not a strategy problem. And there's actually, you need to go to a different starting point to figure out what's happening.
Yeah, I'm going to interject there too, because I think where some people get hung up is they're like, I know that it's a strategy problem. And like strategy for many, it could be like from your end of things, right? Or mine, like strategy from like marketing and messaging. And I know my messaging isn't good, right? I need to up level my messaging. And like, you're so convinced that that's what you need. Or, like I need an OBM. Like I know that I need this position, because I can't manage this, that, and the other thing, like coming from both sides there. And sometimes that is true. That is true. Like I'll say, like, I probably did need an OBM, However, getting an OBM because I want someone else to handle the shit that's going on in my head and like figuring out what I want, that's not gonna work. And that's, I think, what a lot of people make the mistake of when it comes to like, oh, it's strategy. It's not, because yeah, it might actually be partially your strategy, but if you don't do, like you said, the right starting point and you jump right into your strategy, you're never going to get the result from it that you want. So like I could go hire people all day, every day, But unless I was doing that underlying work, and same thing with the copywriter, why did I think that my content sucked? What sucked about it? What was I unhappy about? Because outsourcing it was never going to fix it. And that wasn't fair to her, because it wasn't her fault that I wasn't getting the result from it. It was actually mine. And a lot of people, I think, make that same mistake with outsourcing and hiring their team. Is they outsource things to try to slap a band-aid on a problem and fix something that they don't want to deal with themselves. So then they get maybe a little like burned at the idea of even hiring a team. Like I know a seven-figure entrepreneur that I have in mind myself, that she tells this story openly about how she spent 6 figures on a team and got no results out of it. I haven't had the actual conversation about this with her, but I would guarantee you it probably wasn't fully the team's fault. Sure, it might have been part of it, but if you don't have the clarity, if you don't have the knowing yourself, you can't go in and hire people. And that's why it's so important to fix this other shit that's going on, because yeah, you might need strategy. And some people, you don't need the mindset, you don't need the energetics, you don't need to figure out the underlying stuff. Or you might need to hire someone so that you can actually then go take the time to do that shit too. But it's about coming at it, I think, from the right place.
But it's all about, and usually your red flags are, okay, I've hit a plateau. I feel like I need, these are the right solutions. You put these solutions in place and they aren't working for you. Don't ride them out. Don't wait forever. That's actually your red flag to then go, okay, I need someone else to actually help me analyze, where is this coming from? What is the root cause? Did I just hire the wrong people? Okay, work on that. Did I maybe choose a strategy that wasn't right for me? Okay, maybe work on that. A lot of times when it's a prolonged period where it's kind of this up and down, you're not getting the ups like you used to or that you want, there's something deeper behind it. And I know for some, it's like, oh God, mindset and the energetics. It powers everything.
It does.
How you go about making the decisions of what you need to do and the strategy and the people, even what you're doing in general, because that can change over time.
Yeah.
In your business, your priorities can change over time. And if we aren't aware of it and we aren't clear about it, we can't pivot with it. And then all of a sudden we're overwhelmed, we're frustrated, we have income dips and we have income plateaus and we have income plummets.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like, I think a lot of people make the mistake. Some people realize, I think, that it's them, that they need to do this. But I think what happens is that people come in and they hire people who may or may not be the right or wrong people. But then when it doesn't work, they blame it on the person they hired. They blame it on the coach that told them to hire that person. They blame it on everyone but themselves, and looking at, actually, did I do everything? And I'm going to use a personal example here. Did I do everything that I could to actually make that work? Was I being the person that I needed to be? Was I being the leader that I needed to be? And like self-leading, not only leading your team and your clients, but like, was I being the leader that I needed to be in order for that person to actually get the results that I wanted? Did I give them what they needed? Was my energy shit and am I freaking out about money? And then that's going into everybody else and my team and everything else. But like for me, an example of that was, I was considering letting one of my team members go, and I did let a few go last year, but there was one that I was considering, and I just realized that, well, sure, maybe I wasn't getting exactly what I wanted from that team member. When I really got real with myself, and you know what I'm talking about, but when I got real with myself, I realized that I also wasn't being the leader that I needed to be for them. They may or may not have been the right person. That's regardless right now. But what I was doing was definitely not going to make, like, if I could have gotten rid of that person, gone and hired someone else, and it would have been the exact same shit.
Yeah. I know, because I know in my experience, like I said before, it's not until you like try things and you're hiring or you're realigning and you're doing all of these things, and then all of a sudden it becomes this, there's something else behind this. And I know a lot of people I've worked with, there's like this general feeling of that's not quite it. There's something else. They can't always put their finger on it. And it could be a mix of strategy and alignment and the right pieces. But there's this whole other level to it. And they know it. I knew it deep down, but I had to go get the support because while I help CEOs in their business and I am that outside person and I can see it clear as day
Mhm.
for other people, I'm close in my business. So I have people and continue to have people to help put a mirror in front of my face like, hi, what are you doing? What are you
Yeah.
do? What are you doing? Maybe we should look at this. So that they can help me identify what was a strategy issue, what was a people issue, what was a me issue. And I don't say that in a judgmental, I don't take any of it as a I'm judging myself, I'm giving myself a hard time. Like it was just a period for me to go, yeah, I need to revisit a few things. I need to go deeper into what's behind this. I need to take the steps to become a better person or release what I need to release or learn what I need to learn to move past this.
Hmm.
And so it's easy for us to judge that, oh my God, we're doing all this stuff wrong. Or you reframe it as, okay, might not have been the right choices, but it
Hmm.
brought me to this point. Now I'm going to learn from it. Now I'm going to figure out what I actually need to do and I'm going to move past it. But you need people to help you do that.
Yeah.
It's, if
That's
yeah, I mean, if any of this is
huge.
resonating with you guys, reach out to us. We have multiple options. We each kind of speak each other's language, but we also have our specialties and we can work together. We can work individually, whatever it is to help you figure it out and stop this roller coaster of what is happening. That's what we do, is to help figure it out, work on the things behind the scenes, whether it is structurally, whether it is strategically, whether it is you, to help you move past this.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm going to say this. Sorry, but not sorry. It is you. And I say that with love, because whether it is strategic or whether it is mindset or not, if you're not enjoying your business, if your business is not going the way you want it to go, there is something in you, because even if it's strategy and you're resisting certain things or you're not hiring the people you need to hire or doing certain things, it's still you, because you're the only one who decides how life goes for you. You're the only one that decides how business goes for you. You get to choose if this is going to work or not work and to put the right pieces in place. And you can say, I can't afford it. I can't do this. I can't do that. Or you can figure that the fuck out and make it work, because your business, you created this for a reason, right? You had this vision of, what you wanted. And the only reason, honestly, that most people don't have it is because of themselves, because they are getting in their own way. And going back to what you said, like, yeah, you can be a genius at helping other people at stuff with even the same shit that's happening in your own life. And that's good. That's just going to stop you too, because you're going to feel out of integrity if that's happening. And then you're not going to let yourself sell stuff. But that aside, um, you need that outside perspective to help you see what's happening inside your world. You know that it's something more. You may not be certain. Is it strategy? Is it energetic or mindset? You might know. But that's where we come in. That's where people like us come in, is because that is what we both have expertise in, is helping you see the gaps of what is happening in your business so that we can help you to squash it. We can help you to get rid of it, change it, move on, and get on with your life, get on with enjoying your fucking business the way you meant to in the first place. Get out of the anxiety, get out of the fear, get out of the self-judgment, because you're just going to stay there as long as you do try to do it yourself, because you need that outside perspective sometimes to just snap you out of it. I said, my coach has done it to me multiple times, even in the last 2 weeks. I have had multiple things that were just like, no, like, this is what's happening. This is what you need to change. And it's not like, okay, you need to go, do this funnel and that. No, that's not the kind of thing I'm talking about, like having mentors that tell you what to do. I'm not talking about teaching you how to build a funnel or how to build a Facebook group kind of coaching. I'm talking about people that truly reflect to you what is happening for you. And they don't hold back. They tell you how it is, because that is what's going to move you forward. You getting out of your own fucking head and choosing and deciding that things are going to change, whether it is your strategy, whether it is your mindset, it comes back to you. So that's my little rant.
Pretty much. But but listen, there's 8, 9, 10-figure businesses, CEOs that have coaches, mentors that are constantly working on themselves, that are constantly up-leveling themselves, that are constantly analyzing everything. So this isn't just oh my God, you have to do this, and then you somehow arrive at a stage where you never have to do this again. It's an ongoing thing throughout your whole entrepreneurial journey.
Every level up, you're going to go through something. Yeah. Every level up, you'll go through something.
So if this is resonating with you guys, reach out, have a conversation with both of us, whatever. We have multiple different options and ways that we can help you figure it out, that we can help support you, that we can help get you past this frustrating, overwhelming stage. We've both been through it. We know what you're going through, but we're here to help you. Reach out, have a conversation, and let us help you figure out what path.
Let us help push you off the plateau.
Yes.
So that you don't fall on the ground, but that you can keep climbing the mountain.
Okay? Exactly. So,
and if you're listening to this before November of 2024, you can join us in Bali to do this work. But otherwise, yes, just message us about how we can help you. So thank you for joining us for yet another wonderful episode of Redefining Entrepreneurship. And it has been fabulous talking to you. And we will be back next month with some more amazing insights.
Exactly. See you guys next time.